Hi, my name's Robin, and I'm with AARP Nebraska as their Associate State Director for Community Outreach. We've been bringing events to you right there in your home because we aren't in the community right now due to the pandemic that is going on. But we want you to know that we are still here, we are still active, and we are trying to bring you educational information and entertainment through your computer. So for the month of August, we're finding out about Nebraska's very own Stuhr Museum of the Prairie Pioneer that is located in Grand Island, Nebraska. AARP has been doing a 4-part series on the Stuhr Museum that can be viewed from our AARP Nebraska Facebook page. We go live every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time during the month of August to bring you this information. Now, after each event, you're going to be able to still find the recorded segments that we have done. Today is part 3 of our 4-part series, and we're going to be talking to Chris Hochstetler, the Executive Director for the Stuhr Museum. Chris will be on showing you never before seen video of the farm machinery building and its artifacts that are located there on the campus of the Stuhr Museum. So thank you for joining us today, Chris. We're looking forward to hearing about the wonders of the museum and all the treasures that it has to offer. Where are you going to take us today?
Well, thank you, Robin. First of all, it's wonderful to be here with all of you, and a big thank you to AARP and everybody who's a member and who this is reaching. It's wonderful to be able to bring you virtually to Stuhr Museum. And today we are going to talk about the Farm Machinery Building. That's what it's affectionately and I guess officially called here on our campus. And the Farm Machinery Building is a large structure that houses one of the most extensive collections of antique farm equipment in the world, actually. Much of the equipment that you would encounter when you go into the Farm Machinery Building is steam powered. There's 143 pieces in there of steam powered equipment that really covers a period from about you could say from probably about 1830 to the early 1900s. And it was a time frame, I told you earlier, Robin, it was a time frame when things were drastically changing for the world regarding how we farmed. And a lot of that was happening right here in rural America, rural Nebraska, from Illinois to the Great Plains over in Nebraska, Kansas, and even just a little bit further west. And it really changed the world. It was responsible for a lot of the population boom in the world when we figured out how we could feed the world. Prior to that, farming was really done by hand, and it was involved maybe a few animals, horse-drawn plows and oxen-drawn plows and things like that. But in this period from about 1830 to the early 1900s, we were really figuring out how we could power these big behemoth machines that could till acres and acres and acres and harvest acres and acres and acres. And these machines, they really are Goliaths. And when you go in the Farm Machinery Building, you'll see some of these huge contraptions, and you can't imagine how they operated. But every single piece that's in the Farm Machinery Building operated when we pulled it in there. So that's pretty amazing.
That is great. All right, Chris, we'd like to see behind the screen and see what we've got going there at the Stuhr Museum. So for those of you who are watching, the screen will go black for a little bit and then the video will come up. But after the video, stay tuned because we're going to answer some questions through Chris on the Farm Machinery Building.
Hi, I'm Carrie Stouffer. I'm the curator here at Stuhr Museum, and we are in front of the Antique Auto and Farm Machinery exhibit and building. And inside you will see one of the best collections of antique farm machinery. Most of it was collected by Mr. Thiessen out of Henderson, Nebraska. We actually worked with him. He had a small museum, and the Hall County Board, Stuhr Museum, and him worked together to bring this collection here. He had been collecting and restoring machinery for 12 years and decided that, you know, he needed to actually spend some more time on the farm. So we brought the collection here, and that's what we have to share with you today. So John J. Thiessen, basically he was a pilot, he was a farmer, he lived in Henderson, Nebraska, and he was in a plane accident. As part of his recovery, he decided to clean up some farm equipment around the farm, and he got really into it and spent about 12 years restoring almost everything that you will see in this building. He spent a lot of time. He took every single piece apart down to the bare bones, brushed it all clean, researched the books, and then put it back together to factory specs, factory colors. Everything you hear is completely accurate. And then he started a small museum and thought he could manage running a farm, enjoying his hobbies, and running a museum, which didn't quite work. So that's when we started the communications in 1965, which is right when we were starting building this complex. And so we worked with them and acquired this exhibit, and here it is. And it is something that is incredibly special. We've added pieces over the years into this building, and we have a lot of people who come here from all over the world to do research and to find out, to do measurements. We've had people crawl under and around and all sorts of things, because this is one of the very few places that you can see things completely accurate. Right here we have some of the equipment that we've added into the collection, along with John Thiessen's expertly redone equipment. Beautiful colors, beautiful things. We've got plows, we have seeders, we have stationary engines, we have cars, we have threshers, we have buggies. We have Dr. Phillipson's buggy, who was an early veterinarian here. We have these wonderful treadmills that are over here. We have a dog treadmill and a horse treadmill, because you had to involve the entire family when you're doing your wash. We have the washing machine that would have been hooked up to the treadmill. I suppose you could put your kids on there too. We have had a lot of people come and look at this exhibit. We've had Mysteries at the Museum, a television show. They came and do a number on the Let's machine back there, because it basically helped in the discovery of corn puffs and Cheetos and things. So we really have a mixed bag of equipment, and yet it's all kind of tied together in the agricultural farm field areas that really Central Nebraska is all about. So we also have collected John Thiessen's automobiles. And it's a small collection, but it's a very nice collection. Right here, we have a Model A. We've been through and we cleaned them all up and shine them up, make sure that they're taken care of. This Model A would have sold for about $500 in the late 1920s. I believe it's a 28. And so what we do is we try to put all the information we can on a label here. We also have a lot of the information on all of the steam engines and tractors online. So if you go to stuhrmuseum.org, you can look up, basically put in Stuhr Museum and tractors, and you will get a wealth of information. We've also included links to UNL, where the tractors that were trial tested there have all the information. And so basically what you need to do is check out our website and then come down and take a look at all of our equipment in the farm machinery building. Definitely this was a period in time, kind of the turn of the 20th century, where we were switching to more mechanic, more gas-powered, more technical-driven items. But the ingenuity, I think, is what's really a part of it, because even the wooden carriages and wagons had a lot of ingenuity. A lot of people did their own building. So you'll see a lot of things in here. You'll see a lot of things in here that were designed, the stationary engines and stuff that were worked on at home and developed. Sometimes you'd have a local company that put out, a few stationary engines, and then it wouldn't succeed, or they'd move on to something else. So it's really a period in time where people were experimenting, and just as creativity with technology and computers, that's what they were doing at this time, is experimenting with all of these different methods of transportation and moving large objects with machinery. And it really was a beautiful time, and the craftsmanship is just amazing. Well, families will come in and they'll say, oh my gosh, I was behind that plow 8 hours a day, and or I sat at this cedar and ran it for 8 hours a day. So there's those personal stories. But then to see the collectors come in, and they're, it's a pretty unassuming building out here, and they walk in that front door and see the massive steam engines, and all of these engines were in working condition when they came in. And so it really is a sight to see. And then the kids have a great time coming in here and, seeing what it is and trying to imagine how it worked. And every kid wants to jump in and try it. So there are so many reasons that Stuhr Museum and Hall County is lucky to have this collection. I think what's so impressive is that all this machinery wasn't gathered up all over. It's from here. It's from one area. It's what was on the fields. It was what was used. It is connected to the families and the agriculture. And, that's what makes Stuhr Museum so impressive, is that you really get a slice of the whole pie when it comes to looking at America and how the Industrial Revolution took off. And you can really see an entire part here and compare those things to one another. Stuhr Museum has really done an excellent job of, making sure that these are accessible. It's a very hot building in the summer, but we take a lot of time to make sure, if you call, and anybody at the museum, if you come in, make an appointment, can get in here to see this. If the building isn't open, we have volunteers that have stayed out here for hours in the heat or the freezing cold. I was out here once in 3 layers of clothes so that a collector could crawl under and make measurements for about an hour and a half. So there's a lot of dedication to a lot of people for this equipment. not only that, but from a background as an artist, the workmanship, the colors, the shapes, the repetition, the variety, all of it makes this building just a total joy to walk through, to take pictures in. It's just a beautiful, beautiful collection. And we do collect files. So if we get any catalog information or anything like that, we will keep it on this type of tractor. And so if anybody comes to do research, we can provide them with at least whatever we've been able to come up with. So it's much, it's visual, it's beautiful, but it's also a very rich research collection that we're pretty proud to be able to share. All right, so here we have one of my favorite pieces. This is a 1913 Rumley. It's a Type E 3060. And I had no idea how special it was until I started working here. And to see people's eyes light up when they see this tractor is just amazing. It is pretty rare to be in all the pieces that it is. We have grand ideas to restore it and get it moving out here at Stuhr Museum. And hopefully we can hear the sound of its engine cranking someday. And maybe it can even pull a plow. You can see this plow did not go with it. It's been attached. We do have some other equipment out here. You can see there's a John Deere. We've got a couple threshers. And actually we have 200 acres out here at Stuhr Museum, and we have many more things to see. This is just such a small part of Stuhr Museum. So watch some more videos, come out and check us out, and hopefully stay safe and visit us one day.
Chris, that was great. Thank you for giving us a behind-the-scene look at the farm machinery building.
Thank you.
Okay, so I've got some questions ready for you. And the first
Okay.
one that comes to mind is, how many different items do you have in the farm machinery building exhibit?
So at last count, I think the various items there are, we've got 20 automobiles and 143 farm implements and a few other kind of hand tools and stuff. So we're probably north of 160, maybe approaching 170 objects in that farm machinery building.
That's quite a collection. Now, they indicated that John Thiessen from Henderson provided this, made this donation around 1965. But when was the exhibit actually opened at the Stuhr Museum?
So yes, the farm machinery building itself is about 35 years old. So up until that time, we would have had the artifacts or the tractors, the farm machinery in our collection, but it wouldn't have necessarily been displayed or exhibited the way that it is now in the farm machinery building.
I see. So since that time, have pieces continued to been added to his collection?
We do, Robin, we do. So museums follow a practice that's called accessioning and deaccessioning. That's the official name for it. And every collection, regardless of whether it's an art museum or a history museum, a natural history museum, follows this process to introduce new pieces into their collection and actually let pieces in their collection go. Because there are times when, a piece may have outlived its usefulness factor, or maybe it just belongs in another museum that's more appropriate for it. And so that we follow that process to try to keep the collection fresh, and then also to find those really important pieces that we feel might strengthen the integrity of a specific collection.
I see. So can you tell me, are there any new additions that are coming to the Stuhr Museum?
Well, one exciting thing that I'd like to talk about, Robin, is that we've got we call it the Taylor Ranch. So Robert Taylor, he's not the actor, but Robert Taylor was a sheep rancher and very much an entrepreneur of his time, developed interesting ways to transport sheep with the double-decker sheep car on the rail car. And he ran a sheep farm out this way, a sheep ranch, and we have all of the structures from that sheep ranch on our property. It's on the far west side of our property. And it's a little tough to get to, and it needs a little bit of restoration. So we are actually going to move that entire ranch across our property about a little bit less than a mile, but close to a mile. We're going to move it to the far east side of our property. And then we're going to activate that space with some specific programming. And I think people will find that really enjoyable because it's an extraordinary ranch complex and ranch home. Teddy Roosevelt actually visited and spent some time in the office area of that ranch house and took some meetings there. So we're going to recreate what that would look like when Teddy Roosevelt was here and visited the Taylor Ranch.
Oh, that'll be an exciting new piece to the museum, or a refreshed piece. It'll be exciting to see.
It really will. It really will.
So let me ask you this. When we talk about the farm machinery building, do you have guided tours, or are we to do the tours on our own?
So you can do both. We do have wonderful tags throughout the farm machinery that describe each particular artifact, each tractor in there, and they're all amazing. But we love giving guided tours. So you just have to really, if you ask the docent or the volunteer who's in the farm machinery at the time, they will certainly give you a tour. Or you can always ask me if I'm available. Ask for the executive director. I love giving tours. I would welcome that. And I really find the farm machinery building interesting. The equipment there is, our curator Carrie mentioned just the ingenuity behind it all. And some of these things are just monsters. They're huge, and you can imagine them lumbering around the field in early 1900, barely moving, and these wheels on some of these tractors are 7-8 feet tall. So it's pretty incredible.
Oh, I just can't imagine. Okay, Chris. So before we end today's session, I do want everyone the viewers to remember that next week, which is August 26th, we're going back to the Stuhr Museum, where we're going to see the Summer Stock Showcase and the current art show that's on display. So I hope that everybody makes sure that they spend some time following us on AARP Nebraska's Facebook so that they can see that. So Chris, let me ask you, what are the current hours of the museum for those who want to come visit?
So we are open Monday through Sunday, so 7 days a week. And Monday through Saturday, we're open 10 to 4. And then on Sundays from 12 to 4.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you next week and talking more about the Stuhr Museum.
Thank you.